can't see me, huh? Well, we're gonna try to fix this. Stand by. Holding. All right, we're back. We're back. There we go. Okay. All right. We're here. We made it. Um, can you hear me? Hopefully everything sounds good. All right. Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. I swear anytime I actually plan out a stream, that's when I have the technical difficulties, but we're back. We made it. Um, hopefully we don't have any like crazy issues. But if we do, we'll solve them. That's what we do. We solve them. Happy Saturday. You guys having a good Saturday? Come on in. Welcome. Take a seat. There's a big old sofa right where you're at. So go ahead and plop down and get under the blankies. I got some snacks, some tea, and we're just gonna get cozy and come unwind, come relax. I don't know about y'all, man. Today's felt weird for me. I think it's because I don't know if I got allergies. Like I feel like I might have some like seasonal allergies that hit harder down here in the South with like, I don't know, but like last night I started feeling like just exhausted. I went to bed. So for reference, like my schedule now, I'm like usually up till like midnight. I'm up till like midnight and I wake up at like maybe 9. So like that 9-hour sleep. But last night I went to bed at like 10:30 and I slept till like 10:30. So a solid 12-hour sleep. And it was a cozy 12 hours too. Like I was like tucked in deep and I was having like the best dreams. I had a dream, me and my brother Nick. I can't remember what was happening, but it was a really good dream. We were like exploring or something. But yeah. So I should be fine, right? I shouldn't feel so sluggish, cuz I know a lot of people out there, like they say if you get too much sleep you're sluggish, or you start feeling it's almost worse. But like for me, nah, the more the better. Like if I get 12 hours of sleep, I usually feel really good. But today I think it's allergies, I swear, because I'm feeling like stuffed up, but not like in a sick way, just in like a lethargic way. So yeah, I don't know, but yeah, today is a topic I am super excited for. I wanted to do this one a while back, but I figure we're going to do like multiple iterations of this because there's so much to talk about, and I'm not even going to be able to like get into all the things I want to talk about. But today's topic is I'm gonna get a soundboard. But today's topic is anime. Yeah. So anime. Let's ease into it. Let's first. I just want to tease that because we're gonna get into some one of my favorite mediums. Is that like art mediums? Anime, and we're gonna get into like the stereotypes. We're gonna get into like the not all of us were that kid that Naruto ran around the schoolyard, man. Not all of us were like that. And if you are like that, man, more power to you. Like, I love, like, when I was younger growing up, I thought, like, oh, those kids are weird. Like, because I watched anime, but I didn't do the whole full on express it in public. It wasn't quite as cool back then. But now I look at it, I'm like, man, let that kid be them. Let them enjoy what they enjoy. But anyways, yeah. So today was, yeah, I felt kind of like stuffy and just kind of blah. Today was like a blah day. But I did end up, I've been watching more of this Korean drama called Run On. I ended up, if you've been with me, I started Goblin and I got about halfway through. Actually, let me turn myself down because I can hear myself pretty intensely. There we go. Hopefully that's a little better. But yeah, I started watching Goblin, and that one, it was just, I wish they would have gone a different direction with it. Like, it was still good, but it just felt weird to me. Like, I think I've explained the plot once already, but it was essentially about this like 900-year-old goblin who comes back, or who's living his life, and a goblin over there, I guess, is like almost like a god, like a demigod. Like, he's got all these powers and he's immortal pretty much. But he, like, his specific situation, he will only be able to die if his true love pulls out the sword from his chest or whatever. Long story short, the person they chose to be his true love was like a 19 or 20-year-old student, I think, which is like I was hoping in the first like 15 minutes they do like they show her as a kid and then they show her as a student, and I was hoping in the next 15 minutes, like right at the beginning, they would show her as like a 30-year-old like working professional, right? I thought that was going to be the angle, because I would be all on board for, like, if you're like, I love like workplace dramas, so like maybe she was an office professional in Seoul and she had like, and that was the goblin's true love, right? I hope I was really hoping for that. But no, they kept her as like a 19 or 20-year-old, which is just like, I don't like that. Because like the goblin's like 900 years. Like, if you think, like, obviously, even if the goblin was like 40 years old, like that's not, I don't sit right. I just could not get into that. Like, I was like, and they did it in a way where they kept referencing the fact that she was like a kid or like a younger, like they kept referencing that, they knew what they were, like, they knew, they didn't like really push the romance of it, but it's still like, my guy. Like, I was waiting for that moment where like they just magically fast forward 10 years and she would be like a full-on adult, and then I would be like, I guess it wouldn't be so weird. But they never did that, or at least not till the part I got, and I got like 9 episodes deep. Like, I was just like, I guess I was more in for like a love story and less of a like I don't know what it is, honestly. I don't have the word for it. It was like more of like a friendship thing, I think they were framing it as, or like a innocent, I don't know, but it was not for me. It was it was entertaining. Like the characters, there's my puppy. The characters were like well developed and cool, but like the storyline and like the fact that she was like a student, just I was like, nah, this ain't it. This ain't it. But anyways, now I'm watching Run On, which is on Netflix, and it's got one of my favorite actors in it, who's in a K-drama called Summer Strike. And I don't know if you've ever like seen that or seen like trailers for it, but it's on Viki, and that one is really, really good. Summer Strike is like one of the best. It stayed with me. It's one of the best dramas I've seen in a long time. It's like very indie, so my sister Sam won't probably like it, even though I'll recommend it to her. But it's so cozy and so peaceful. Hopefully. And that wasn't me being weird. That was me checking to make sure with the camera that we're not lagging or the audio's not like messed up for you guys. I don't just like mid sentence, no context. Oh, maybe I should. Next time I'll do that. I won't even. You know what? I'll do that at some point tonight, and I won't explain it after that. So anyone who's come in after that won't understand what I'm doing. But y'all who have been here from the beginning, you'll know. But yeah, it's Summer Strike is got my like one of my favorite actors. It's the first time I saw him in that, and he's like this really like, I don't know. He reminds me of like more like a what's a good like a Topher Grace or like a J. Baruchel, like kind of like a, he's kind of thin, he's like kind of, he wouldn't be like the classically handsome or like the most popular like kid or guy in school, but he's nice, he's really nice and really kind and, you know, kind of awkward and yeah, I really like, I connect with that whoever the actor is. I'll try to find his name. But anyway, Summer Strike is like spring/summer vibes for days. Like it is such a good one about this girl who pretty much is like, yo, I'm done with the work. Like her mom had just passed away, and like she like that like triggered her. Like, why am I working this, 8 to 6 job that I don't even like, that they don't respect me, that they're backstabbing me. And so she ends up just moving down to a coastal city, which is pretty much the dream, right? It's pretty much what I did. Like she ended up moving to a coastal town, and along the way she pretty much Summer Strike. She goes on strike and says, I'm not going to work for 1 full year. For as long as my savings last, I'm not going to work. And it's a really cool story. The cinematography is amazing. Like if you really like to get lost in like the mood of or like the setting of a show, like for me, I love when they just get the mood right, of those spring days where you're looking through the trees and the lights like coming through, and you can almost feel like a warm breeze. Like that's they do that so well, better than a lot of shows I've ever seen. And there's a cozy library involved, and Summer Strike, if you haven't seen it and you like that kind of, if this sounds any kind of like interesting to you, check it out. It's really good. But anyways, the main guy in that is in Run On, which I'm watching now, about a track star and a English to Korean interpreter, and it's really good so far. It's got those same kind of cozy indie vibes. I'm really liking it, and it was one of those things like after I finished after I stopped Goblin, I was like in that little rut where it's like, man, is anything gonna catch my? We always forget, after you read a really good book or you finish a good movie, or even if you stop through like a mediocre TV show, you're like, man, am I going to be able to find anything that like excites me, or catches me or like makes me feel like whatever I just watched either did or didn't. And from the jump, this one. So that's what I was carrying when I was just going through the list of all these things I want to watch, like all my watch lists and all my my cues, and just like trying to find something that fit. And I was just so like, nah, I didn't. Maybe I'll just watch Dear John for the 100th time, or maybe I'll just watch The Help for like the 60th time, or maybe I'll watch Interstellar. And I was like, nah, we ain't gonna watch Interstellar. That's a no. I like that movie, but ain't nobody got 4 hours. Nobody got 4 hours. But yeah, I'm glad I started Run On. It's a really good one. It hits all the right feels for me. I'm such a sucker for romance and for romantic comedies. Like, don't let I know I've talked about being an introvert, and I've talked about, liking my alone time, which is all true, but I also really am fascinated by romance, and I love love, man. Like, I love romance. I love romantic comedies. I'm a sucker for all that. 100%. But that's not what today is for. Today is for anime. Finger guns. Today is all about anime. And like I said, this is going to be probably one of my favorites just because I could go on for days and days and days. And I don't really have, outside of my family, I have some close friends that like enjoy anime too, but like, you know how it is. Anime's in a lot of circles is like not looked down upon, but like people don't really like mess with it like I do. It's just it's got this certain kind of reputation for, it's like the weird kids in school that would watch it, but I'm here to tell you that's not true. I mean, well, maybe it is because I'm weird, but like, not all people who watch anime don't shower, is what I'm saying. I smell pretty good, and I love anime, and I like to think I'm a pretty well-adjusted man, but anime like is such a good art form. Like it's like, I was trying to think of like things to compare it to, and a lot of animes, like if you like Marvel movies, I don't understand people who enjoy Marvel movies but don't enjoy anime. Like the similarities are insane. Like it's almost always the beginning story is almost always some kind of shock event, right? Some kind of like, disaster or something that our main character either gets a superpower or gets some kind of hidden knowledge or something that sets off this journey for the ages. Like in anything like, My Hero Academia, Tokyo Ghoul, Death Note, Dragon Ball, like any of the, well, Dragon Ball, I guess it was kind of inherent. It was just how it was, I guess. But, all these things correlate. Like Demon Slayer, like they all have, like that's how in Marvel movies the same way. It's like Captain America, like we saw the origin story. We saw all these, forgive me, I don't really watch Marvel movies, so it's like I got to pull from the ones I've seen, and I've seen Captain America, I've seen Iron Man, and one Thor. I've seen one Thor movie. I don't even know if it was the first one. Yeah. I'm not really the biggest Marvel fan, so we probably won't have a Marvel day, is what I'm saying. But, yeah, all these themes are like so similar, right? It's like it's a like most of the themes and tropes of Marvel is like if you just read the bylines, it could be exactly an anime. It probably is somewhere. Like, where do you think? I'm not gonna say where do you think Marvel's getting it, but No, but like, and didn't that stem from comic books? So it's like manga. It's like, or manga. But it's like apples to oranges. But the one gets like, I guess Marvel gets kind of, well, does it really get looked down upon here? Not really. I guess if anything, you're just like maybe seen as more of a geek or a nerd, but like that's it. Anyways, my introduction to anime was like a lot of kids my age. It was that after school block on Cartoon Network known as Toonami. And if you don't know what Toonami is or was, it was the vibe of all vibes. It was like, I don't know, it was whoever came up with Toonami and that block of, I think it was like 4 half-hour animes was genius. Like whoever marketed that, whoever created that, essentially was like, so it was 2 hours starting at I think 3 p.m. Central Time, right? So it's like right after you get out of school. So it's like the perfect time. They knew what they were doing. Kids are just getting out of school. You're coming home. Click on the TV, and you see this dude in this spaceship, and his name is Tom. And he essentially was like introducing you to new anime, right? He was like the host of the thing, but he wasn't really like a host. He was just like there. He was just driving, and there were screens, and you would push a button, and then you'd be watching Dragon Ball for like a half hour. It was kind of weird, but like it worked. And Tom was the dude. Tom went through like a few iterations. Like it was funny, because like one year you'd show up, and Tom was like this little short dude. He pretty much like Frieza. He was like a short guy with a big head, and then he became like this really tall dude with like, he was longer and slim, and then he like was somewhere in the middle. Like Tom went through some changes, but no judgment, like no shame. I'm not body shaming here. He just, I don't know what was happening in space. But I do hear you get taller in space because of the gravity or lack thereof. But anyways, so yeah, you come home at school. I'd come home. Me and my brothers and sisters would come home at school, or come home from school. It'd be 3:00. You turn on Toonami, and it'd be just an assortment of shows. And I don't know the order, but like it was always, when I started, I might have been 8, 9, 10, 11, somewhere in there. Dragon Ball Z, Tenchi Muyo, Gundam Wing, and then maybe like Rurouni Kenshin, or like maybe Zoids or something. Like something. There was always like, I think it was Rurouni Kenshin, or maybe Sailor Moon. I don't know, but all I know is we were hooked. Like I don't know what it was, but man, as soon as we sat in front of that TV and saw Dragon Ball Z, it was over. Because it was like, I remember it was that right when Raditz lands, pretty much. Now we going deep. So if you're not in the anime and you don't know Dragon Ball Z, we gonna go through it. But essentially, like a lot of people I've met, Dragon Ball Z was like the intro, because Toonami really pushed Dragon Ball Z like right at that perfect slot. And it was the perfect thing for us. Like I said before, I was like, it probably wasn't the best thing for like 8, 9, 10-year-olds to watch, but it was so cool. It's like those episodes had you hooked. Like, what's better than watching some guy with like superpowers and super strong fight evil, right? And the storylines were really cool, and it was easy to follow as a kid. Like, it wasn't too convoluted and disjointed. It was like you just pretty much followed the storyline linearly, and there were enough cool characters to where you're still interested, and there was enough going on that like stimulated you as a kid. And there was a lot of the joke is like, it was like 20 minutes of the build up to each episode was like 20 minutes of like build up to a fight, but like every episode. So that episode, 20 minutes to build up. Next episode, 20 minutes to build up. Next episode, 20 minutes to build up. And then like finally you'd have like a fire, like an episode of fighting, and then that's how it was. But it was so cool. And like I had grown up on I mean, a lot of us grew up on cartoons and stuff, right? Like Tom and Jerry and, you know, Popeye and like even like Dexter's Lab and Powerpuff. I know that was the same time. But like we all kind of knew anime, like this was different. Like Dragon Ball, you know, Tenchi, Gundam, they were like more geared toward like an adult crowd or like the older kids, right? Like we all felt it, we all knew it, because even when, because I think Powerpuff Girls and Johnny Bravo was like right around the same time I was watching, you know, Dragon Ball and Gundam, and I always separated them because they felt different. You know, one definitely felt more geared toward kids, and then, you know, yeah, they were both animated, but like, you know what I mean. So, yeah, Toonami. Man, if you remember Toonami, man, there are some times, you know, if there's ever like times in your life that you wish you could go back to, like just and spend maybe a few hours in that given time period. There aren't many times I'd go to before I go to, you know, coming home after school in elementary, at the end of elementary and beginning of middle school, 3 p.m. when Toonami turns on. And you just see Tom rolling up in his spaceship and pretty much like, yo, these next 4 hours are going to be fire. Or 2 hours, sorry. These next 2 hours are going to be fire. Man. Toonami. Even sometimes now I'll like look up old YouTube like clips of Toonami, and just like as soon as I hear the voice, his little robot metallic voice, it'll trigger me. It was just, man, it's one of those vibes you'll never ever be able to recreate. Just the right age, the right everything for that. But that was my first introduction to anime, and so it was Dragon Ball Z, Gundam Wing, Sailor Moon was in there, Tenchi Muyo, like I said, Rurouni Kenshin, Ronin Warriors, like that kind of vein. I guess that's what mid-90s anime. But nothing was better than coming home, and I don't know if my sisters were old enough, but my brothers definitely were. It was usually be me, James, and Nick. We'd be watching whatever was on, and we'd like get into it, boy. Like I said, we'd get into fights based on Dragon Ball Z. Like we'd like pretend we're getting Super Saiyan, get roided out real quick. You know, just getting hit to that superpower. Just Kamehameha all over the place. You know, pretending we could fly, and it was something else. But actually, the one that like stuck with me the most was Tenchi Muyo. Like that's the one I always think back on, and I'm like, man, that was such a vibe. I don't know how it holds up. I haven't seen it in years, but essentially it's like this I think it's a regular human being, this guy named Tenchi, and he lives out in like rural Japan somewhere, and all of a sudden like maybe a spaceship crashes or something, but like a bunch of alien women come and like pretty much live with him or like invade his life. And it's the funniest. It's like a weird thing. They got Tenchi, you got Ayaka, you got Ryoku, who was my favorite. Like she was like the first animated character that I actually thought was like really pretty. And maybe I'm exposing myself, but she was definitely like a dime. Like I don't know why. She was just, her voice, whoever voice acted her for in the English dub, like it was like a sultry voice, kind of raspy, and like she was so spicy. Um, but that was such a good one because it was like I loved. It was, man. It's just the music and everything was perfect. Like that's one thing that draws me in with a lot of anime is like the music is everything. Like the intros, the outros, any kind of music in like kind of cut scenes and things like that. Like I'm a sucker for. It's so pretty. Um, but yeah, Tenchi was, and then Gundam. Y'all remember Gundam? Gundam Wing? None of this. None of this. Nah, Chase. If you're listening, and Nick too. Gundam '08. Nah, it was alright. No. Y'all like G Gundam. Never mind. Gundam '08 was like my second favorite. G Gundam, I think that was the one you guys liked. G Gundam's alright, but it wasn't no Gundam Wing. It was no Hero Yui or Duo Maxwell. I just watched the pilot episode of Gundam Wing last week, and let me tell you, it's alright. It's a lot more disjointed than I remember. Like there's a lot going on, and I'm really surprised as like 10-year-olds we could like follow it or even like find it entertaining. But it was probably because there's a lot of fighting in it, so it was like you could make it make sense, right? You could we were so young, we probably didn't know what they were doing with politics or any of that. We were just like, oh my goodness, that's a sword. He hit him with a sword. But no, that was I love Gundam Wing. That was the one that like probably more so than any of the other ones like got me hooked into anime was Gundam Wing because it was one that was like so fantastic, and it's like it was a completely different world. Like in like Dragon Ball, there's different creatures, and like obviously no one's gonna go Super Saiyan like in today's climate, right? But and then in Tenchi it was like still, I mean they were aliens, but like they still looked like humans. But in Gundam, it was like just it was a time set in the future, and it was like giant. It was humans like controlling giant mechanized robots, right, to fight. And that is something I never even thought about existing in the world before seeing that. Like giant, like 20 feet, 30 feet tall robots, like using plasma swords to and like rockets shooting out, and like a human inside, like a tiny human inside, just controlling it all, right? I guess Power Rangers. I did okay. So maybe I fibbed a little bit. I lied a little bit. Power Rangers had that going on, but this was in space. It looked cooler. Like it wasn't like cheesy explosions and stuff like that. It was like animated, so it, like for some reason I could get into it, and it like expanded my mind of like, oh man, you can tell stories like this, cause you had the freedom to draw whatever you wanted, right? So it's like that really got me sucked in. And then obviously Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon was just it still is. It's just a mood. Like you got Sailor Jupiter and Sailor Mars. I think if I remember right, Sailor Mars is the brunette, which you know my thoughts on brunettes, man. I'm a sucker for them. And I love space. Come on. I think Sailor Mars was like the second. So Ryoku was the first, but then Sailor Jupiter was like Sailor Mars was like the second like animated character. I was like, wow. You pretty. But Tuxedo Mask and Luna the cat. Man, that's such a good one. I like this. I like reliving. I can picture like even scenes from it because I watch it every now and then. But and then I know they had the eventually they had the nighttime stuff too, which was like the nighttime was almost like the Adult Swim version of it, which was like kind of like the edgier stuff. So it was like Cowboy Bebop and Inuyasha and things that were like a little bit gorier, and like a little like a bit more heavier on the subject matter. And honestly, I didn't really get into Cowboy Bebop until I was an adult. Like now I love it. I didn't mess with jazz like that. I just didn't. But now I love it. Like doom 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 doom. Like that's such a cool opening, and like it's such a cool dark story. Like if you need a good rainy day binge watch, Cowboy Bebop is it. But yeah, like nighttime it'd be like Inuyasha, and I have so many good memories of me and my brother Nick. Like we used to share a room and bunk beds, and I have so many good memories of him and I just staying up a little later than we should have, because I think Inuyasha ended up coming on at like 11, and that was like past our bedtime as kids, like because we had to get up for school at like 6 in the morning. But we'd sneak it on, and we turn it on, and you hear that opening, and you're just like, I'm in this. I'm in it. I'm right there. I'm right there with Kagome and Inuyasha. Inuyasha is like the Princess Mononoke of TV shows. So like, why wouldn't you just get lost in it? But Inuyasha is actually one of my favorites to this day. Like I rewatch it at least once every few years, just because it's a mood. It's like a. Let's see how many times I can say mood on this today. But Inuyasha is such a cool vibe. It's so dark, but it's like, and the music, hands down, I've seen my fair share of anime, but Inuyasha has the best soundtrack, the best OST, the best music of probably any pound for pound. It's like, it's up there. It's personally my favorite. Like I even go on like Spotify a lot, and I'll have that, like when I'm trying to sleep, I'll play that soundtrack, because it's just like really, there's a lot of pretty piano, and like violin, like strings, and just a lot of beautiful music. Like even if you don't mess with anime like that, the soundtracks are just amazing. Like them in itself are just art. Like, but anyways, Inuyasha's the one that, as a grown up, it's still it still holds up. It's still Dragon Ball Z. It's tough for me to get into now. Even Gundam, and like even Sailor Moon, sometimes it's like I don't mess with it, but like Inuyasha holds up. Like it's just really good story, and really good characters, and really good voice acting, and the music. But pause. Did you watch anime growing up? Because obviously there's the camp that watched anime growing up, and there's the camp that didn't. And my voice is getting a little charred, a little smoky. It's the allergies. I swear I didn't have allergies until like moved down here. I know that's got to be a thing, right? Like developing allergies in a new environment, because my body was like, nope. No, oh, you think you're gonna breathe easy down here in the South? You think you're just gonna move 1,000 miles south and just everything's normal? Nah. The trees were like, look at this guy. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. I bet he wants to breathe today. And just, nope. So now I can get like coughing attacks sometimes when the pollen like hits my face, because obviously I'm in the woods a lot, and I'm always like chopping things, and like pollen's going everywhere, and it's just like I'm getting these like and I cough, and I gotta carry what's it, Claritin, like little Claritin stuff with me. And before, I never even knew what Claritin was. I've seen the commercials where like they have the little, you know, it's like cloudy, and then they unwrap, and it's Claritin clear, and it's like clear picture, right? That might as well been Zantac. That might as well been like any other thing. Like, I have no idea. I had no idea what it was because I never had allergies. Never even knew what they were. Well, I knew what they were, but like I never knew how they felt. But that first spring when I was down here, and my buddy KB will tell you, like, I was not prepared. I hit one tree the wrong way in spring. That pollen cloud just came in, and I was just like, oh. And all of a sudden, my body wanted to kill me. It's like these trees wanted to murder me. Like, I literally wanted to press charges against this oak tree. Like, cuff them, boys. Like, cuff this tree, because that's attempted murdery. Attempted murder. That's attempted murder and robbery at the same time. Attempted murdery by a tree. My guy, that tree almost burgled my life. Is what I'm saying. Allergies, man. Anyways, there's the two camps of you know, either you watched anime growing up or you didn't watch anime growing up. And obviously there's some who like later on in life they like either watch it or whatever, especially nowadays. But I was definitely, my brothers and I were definitely in the camp of we watched it because it was just on. It could have been, and I think about this all the time. What if we had found something else? Like, what if that they didn't do Toonami that certain time, so we ended up watching something else? Would we be into anime? Like, would we like anime? Because like I was just talking to my older brother James, and like he's more into anime than I am. Like he watches it quite consistently. And like, what would we be into now if we didn't? Like, would there be something that replaced it? Would we be into golf or something? Would we be like really heavy into golf? Because dang, we dodged a bullet. I'd rather have my kids into anime than into golf. Is what I'm saying. I don't even know where to get the khakis for that. But yeah, and then obviously it's cool if you're not even an anime fan, that's cool too. I'm just sharing my love for it. Like I'm just sharing, like, it's just, I don't know. I swear. Okay, so confession time. I have never dated a woman. This might be a bombshell, but I've never dated a woman who was legitimately into anime. Or as far as I know. And that's fine. That's fine. That's the thing. I don't need the person I am seeing to be into the same things as I am. Like, oftentimes I really enjoy it when we're not really into the same things. But I've always thought it'd be really nice, like really cool to like date someone who really actually enjoys anime, you know, because it's like, it's really cool. It's like something you can come home and you can just put on and watch with your person and like get lost in the world of it for a minute. Like my sister and her boyfriend, shout out to Sam and Evan, but like they both are really into anime, like more so than I am, which my sister, I am shocked. Like growing up, I thought Sam, she was the one out of all of us that I thought would never be into anime, right? She just never was like that interested in it as a kid. Like it just, at least from my memory, like she was never like the older the boy, like the older the boys, like we were kind of like heavy into it, but she just kind of was too young and she wasn't like interested. But like something happened. I don't know when it was. I gotta talk to her, but something happened, and now she's like, she watches way more anime than I do. But like what I was meaning was like her and her boyfriend, like they watch it all the time, and it's like so cool. They probably snuggle up and you know turn on whatever they're into and just just watch it. Like, it's such a cool thing to share with somebody else. Like, it's you know, you see all the memes of like dudes with the girls and they're watching like Naruto or like something like Cozied Up. That's such a that's honestly that's such a cool daydream to me. Like, it's just cozy, it's romantic, it's like just chill. Like, anime and chill would be like that, man. But yeah, no woman I've dated has ever at least admitted to me that they like anime. Not like it's a secret, but like, you know, I don't know. It's weird nowadays. Hey, what's up, Sandy? Hey, hey, Sandy. I'm glad you're here. It's good to see you. Japanime, yeah. Everything by Studio Ghibli, yeah. Or Ghibli? I've never been able to say that right. But 100%. Kiki's Delivery Service is like one of my favorite movies of all time. And Spirited Away. Oh, and Princess Mononoke. You're right, all of them. You know. But yeah. How you doing, Sandy? You having a good Saturday? But yeah, there's this like weird like people even today, like, okay, so let's be honest. When I was growing up in the 90s, if you watched anime, you were kind of the weird kid, right? Or you were like, at least if you liked it, you didn't admit it. You didn't tell other people at school, you know, because it wasn't cool. It wasn't like football or wrestling or like something like that. It was like seen as nerdy and kind of dorky. And but like for me, what made me stick with it was like my brothers were into it too. Like, we would all just watch it, and like when you watch it with somebody else, you realize like you don't feel as weird. Like, I'm sure if I was an only child and like maybe started watching it, and then I like saw how people like reacted to it at school, I'd probably be peer pressured out of watching it. But like when I knew my brothers watch it too, like that's more than enough for me to be like, I don't care what y'all say. My brothers like it, and I looked up to my older brother. It's like anybody would, you know. So it was like, if he's watching it, I don't care what none of y'all other fifth graders are saying. And then I just happened to meet some really cool kids who actually like loved anime too. Like I remember I met this really cool kid, Mirza, and we were friends. And it turned out like somehow it came up that he watched Dragon Ball, and like I was like, wait, what? But you're so normal. And he was like the first one outside of my family who like I knew actually watched anime too, and that was like big for me because like we would spend like our playground, like time on the playground at recess, just talking about the episode we just watched, and it was so cool to have somebody else to bounce the ideas off of, and you know, at school, because 9 times out of 10, if you say, hey, I watched Dragon Ball Z at elementary school in the 90s, they're gonna like laugh at you, or they're gonna like bully you, or they're gonna like pick on you for being, you know, a nerd or a geek or a weird. And this is before, obviously before the tattoos, right? You know, it's before I could intimidate some of these youngins, right? You know, but in reality, it was before like the self confidence. It was before I was a kid, you know, I was like 10. So what other people say to you like really matters, especially in school. It really like affects you. So I didn't want to be seen as the weird kid, you know. But it was one of those things where like I even then I wish like other people would understand how cool anime is. Like it's so funny to me. Like it's got such a bad rap. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a cultural thing. I don't know if it's those kids running with their arms out, like making us all look bad. But It's if you like SpongeBob, well, maybe that's a bad example. Um, if you like cartoons, like I said, if you like Marvel, you would like anime. It's the same themes. It's just animated. Like, and I get that that's a big thing for people. Is like that's the biggest part of like I think of why a lot of people can't get into it. Is like they literally just can't get into the storyline when it's animated or drawn. You know, and I get that. Like that's I could be the same way. Like if something's drawn in a style I don't like I cannot get into it. Even if it's supposed to be like the greatest thing ever, I can't get into it. Um, and so I understand that, like, especially if you didn't grow up with it, like it's just something you don't mess with, and I get that's cool too. But don't be picking on those who like it. Like that's all I'm saying is, because it's like it's it's not different. It's not that different from like a Disney movie or a Pixar movie. You know, it's just I don't know. I don't know. It's such a good art form. And it's like when you see one that's done right and done like really well, and it can be beautiful. Like it can be. I can't tell you how many times the anime has made me cry because they get into like they know what they're doing. You know, they hit hard. They hit you, and they hit you in ways that you can't do with a live action. You know, a lot of the storylines and ways they present characters and things you can't do it like physically with a live action cast, or it'd just be too expensive, or not feasible. But like the fact that you can draw it, you can do whatever you want. And that's a perfect example. Oh, Castle in the Sky, yes. Oh yeah, we were just talking about Dragon Ball Z. You had a crush on Goku? I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. Not mad at that at all. I had a crush on Bulma with her blue hair and her bob, her Robert cut. Man. And her like, 'cause she always wore the coolest jackets. I was like, dang. Um, but yeah, I'm glad you're okay. But yeah, that's a good point though. Studio, how do you say it? Is it Ghibli or is it Ghibli? Either one. Like if you're not in anime, like that was like a good segue, cuz like all those movies, the Kiki's Delivery Service, that was like a perfect transition from like Disney movies into anime. It's like right in the middle where it's like it's got all the themes and storylines you want from a Disney movie, but with the animation, right? And the music, and it's just like those were like in my mind for some reason that's where it mixed, and I don't know how other people perceive it. Maybe they just see that solely as anime, but I saw it as like a mix of Disney movie and anime, and so that was a good introduction. And oh, let me tell you, I love Kiki's Delivery Service. We're gonna do an entire Studio Ghibli. We'll do it. We'll do an entire day of that where I'll like actually find out how to pronounce it. Because there's so many to go over, and that's a good point, Sandy. That's we'll get into that. We'll save that for an entire day because I could go for hours. But yeah, Bulma, man, I did love Bulma. Um, but yeah, so it's like once I met Mirza and found out he liked anime, I was like, okay, this is cool. Like now I know that people exist in the world outside of my family who enjoy this too. So I was like, okay, that's a start. And um, eventually, I don't know. You know how kids happen. Like we like kind of grew apart, and then middle school happened, and middle school was middle school trash for everybody, we're going to talk about middle school one day, but middle school was not that fun. But middle school, okay, you're gonna learn a whole bunch of sides of me. You're gonna hear the honest truth. Just remember who I am now as a person. But in middle school, so middle school in a nutshell, in 6th grade, I was not popular. I don't know. I was kind to everybody, but like I was in the shadows. Like I was small. I was really small. But then I played soccer with this kid that had like a really, like, the reputation of being like kind of the cool, bad kid. And I remember one time at the end of 6th grade or beginning of 7th, something like that, he like invited me to his party, and like nobody gets invited to his parties, it's like only the inner circle, right? But me and him were on the same soccer team, and like we're really cool. So he invited me. We all hang out. It's really cool. It's like my first actually official, like, cool kid grown up party, even though I'm 12 maybe. And after that, I was suddenly like, I still wasn't cool, but like I had more clout. Like I was like, it wasn't weird for me to be in circles with like cooler kids, right? And it didn't hurt that like I was starting to play basketball like competitively, and like I was decent, so I was getting like hanging out in the basketball circles too, which those like we were always like they were always like the cooler kids. So then all those mixed together, I got this level, I don't want to say popularity, but like I got this level of like, I wasn't unpopular. Like I wasn't getting bullied anymore. So like, and I wasn't really I got bullied by one kid, and we'll get into that in the 6th grade. So I technically I can say I was bullied, but it was really just one kid who just picked on me for like 2 weeks. And then actually a friend of mine, a girl, like she stood up to him, and then I never got picked on again. But that being said, so I have this level of like in my head like some kind of clout, right? So I definitely wasn't admitting that I was into anime. Like those middle school years, I shut that down. Like I was still watching it. I'd still come home from school and I'd watch, whatever the next iteration of Toonami was. Like maybe was it Deep Blue 9, something like that. I think Dragon Ball Z was still going. I can't remember what was going. Maybe Rurouni Kenshin was then. It was like the next wave of Toonami, right? Where Tom is like the second form of Frieza. He's like tall now. He's like big, and was Tom Frieza? Spacesuit, round head, maybe size change. But did we just solve it? No. But so yeah, I didn't tell. I mean, outside of my family, like I was not talking about anime to my friends, because like I had a wide group of friends by then. Like at the end of middle school, where it's like I had my really close friends, and we were all pretty nerdy. Like we were like the science kids, like But then I had my basketball friends, and I had my soccer friends who were like from other schools, and none of them like I didn't really bring it. None of them were like either admitting that they liked anime, or like did we even talk about. So those are kind of the dark years. And same thing in high school, really. It's like I didn't really, I still watched it, but like I had to keep it closeted, right? Like I was a closeted anime watcher, like many of my friends, because it's just something in the 90s and the early 2000s you did not tell anybody. Or like you only told people that you trusted and you knew also watched it. That's why I'm kind of jealous of like these days where it's like anime is almost everywhere. It's like it's always on Netflix or Hulu. Like when Hulu has anime, it's real. but like I'm kind of jealous of the fact that like I don't know I don't know what it is like in schools. I don't know if it's still considered nerdy or cool. I don't know where it is now, but I'd like to think that it's a little cooler than it was, or perceived a little better than it was. Um, but and I only ran one time. I only ran like this one time, and it was just to see how it felt. And nobody was around, so it's not on record. And even this, it's gonna scrub. We're not even gonna get into that. Like, we're not gonna bring this up ever again. But I is it Naruto? A lot of people say it different, but like, you know, with the arms and the head down, and you just sprint. I tried it one time. It's very ineffective, very inefficient. The wind drag is insane. Your balance, it doesn't help with your speed. It just, your body mechanics, there's no, why? You're not a plane. You're not a bird. That doesn't help. Just imagine you have a book bag on too, so it's flopping all over the place. This is fine. Keep it there. When you run like this, fine. Like this, you're getting there. Like this, bullied. You run like this, bullied. Fine right here. Fine. Boom. You're getting ganged up. 3 kids are kicking you. Right here, fine. Even that, it's acceptable. That, can't do it. So I tried one time, and I didn't get the hype. It looks cool on TV, but it does not help. It hurts physically. Like the wind resistance on that, not good. But so then I kind of after middle school and high school I was still watching it. And then I kind of just fell away from it for quite a while. I'm talking years, like my college years. I didn't really watch any anime. It wasn't until I was like maybe 23 or 24 that there was like this resurgence. I don't remember what it was. It might have been like Netflix started putting them on or something. And so I started like diving deep into like some of the newer ones that were on. And like, this is at a time where, you know, I'd forgotten most of, I missed a big chunk of like maybe 5 to 6 to 7 years of like anime. So by the time I came back, there was like a whole list of things I had missed out on. I'd never got into like My Hero Academia, or that one with the little witches, or what's that one with Gon and what's his face? Killua? I can't remember off the top of my head. I make fun of Hunter x Hunter. Yeah, I can't get into that one now. It's too slow. It's way too slow. I apologize for anyone out there who that's their favorite one, or they love Hunter x Hunter. Don't get me wrong. I like Gon. Well, I don't mind Gon. Killua is like the coolest character I had seen in a long time. Like, he's like from a family of assassins. Like, that's such a cool background. But like, my dog, the first like 20 episodes were in the same setting. They were in this little dungeon and they had to fight these ex-cons, and it was like, yo, I can't watch this no more. It just dragged on. It just took way too long. But yeah, I think what was big, oh man, I can't even remember what got me back into it. I just remember like certain ones. I remember my brother Nick actually put me onto this one, Your Lie in April. That was on Netflix at the time, and it was like this really, really, really cheesy, like romantic one centered around classical music, like a classical pianist. I said pianist. YouTube, don't flag me. Don't flag me. Oh, Whispers of the Heart, yeah. I really like Whispers of the Heart. Yeah, we moved on. Yeah, yeah. I go all over the place. So I apologize if people out there like things linear. I'm all over the place. But but yeah. Oh, those are good ones. But yeah, Your Lie in April was like this one based on like classical piano, and I really liked classical piano at the time, so it like fit, and there was like really nice like romantic storylines, and it was beautifully drawn, like beautifully animated, and that one was like a really good one. Like that one actually, it shouldn't stay with me as much as it does, but it does. And that's one of the first ones I can remember in my like, second resurgence of anime that I like really pushed me into it. But the one that got me like back on the books, the one that got me hooked, the one that I actually have a tattoo of on my thigh, is Tokyo Ghoul. Yo, Tokyo Ghoul is one of the best animes of all time. Now I can already hear it. I know. The first 2 seasons only, or however they split it up. Whatever the first, it might be I think it's the first 2 seasons, and then they really broke from the manga and went just a bad nah. But the first 2 seasons of that, my guy, amazing, absolutely amazing. Like the intro is the sound, the music, the intros and outros, which is how I judge a lot of anime, are always on point. Like the intro for that first season is my favorite intro of any anime or any show really of all time. Outside of maybe the Office intro. That's probably, but Tokyo Ghoul, it's perfect because I was older and like I really, really like, I'm fascinated by like dark subject matter and like, like kind of creepy, like I said, I've never been like a horror movie fan because I get nightmares, but like I like psychological thrillers, ones that make you think, ones that are like a bit odd or creepy or weird, because those are the ones that like they explore something unknown. So yeah, it's funny, like if you look at my watch history, it's either like really dark anime or like really happy cutesy bubbly anime, like Todo I can say it, Totodora, that one, which if you've seen it, it's so cutesy and bubbly and cute. But Tokyo Ghoul was on another level. Like I actually had started it back in the past, but I couldn't get past like the first few minutes. I wasn't vibing with it. But then I tried again, and it was like the perfect setting. I watched it. It was nighttime, and I fell in love with it. Everything about it, the storylines, the characters, the drawing, the style, the pacing, the everything. Yeah, it goes downhill real fast. It's like you don't even need to watch after a certain point, right? It's done pretty much. But the content in that little bit right there is better than 99% of the stuff I've seen out there. Like it is such a good one, and that one jumped me right back in. It like jump started my anime heart to get me back on board, Johnny Capohala style. Johnny Tsunami, y'all remember Johnny Tsunami? I think about Johnny Tsunami from time to time. I wonder what he's up to. Probably still killing it. With the uncle who's from Mortal Kombat. That's a deep cut. But yeah, Tokyo Ghoul got me back on board, and then it was like the floodgates had reopened, and I was like watching, Attack on Titan, Violet Evergarden. That's when I really got into Cowboy Bebop and Full Metal Alchemist. which Full Metal is like, that's one of my favorites of all time now. Love that one. Just great humor, but also great story. And it's got a particular style that like makes you feel good. Like that's the thing about animes, or like a lot of them, they can create this mood that doesn't exist, right? They can create this world that doesn't technically exist, but like they do such a good job of filling it in. I swear I'm not drunk. It's just the tea. It's mint tea, but they fill it in so well that like it creates this whole thing that you didn't even know you could experience. Like, but yeah, I loved Full Metal. What else was really hit me? Outside of, I mean, if we're going modern now, Demon Slayer. Have y'all ever seen Demon Slayer? I know it's big, but Demon Slayer is one that like I recommend to people who don't like anime, or who like haven't gotten into anime, because Demon Slayer from the jump, from the first about 10 minutes, you'll get sucked in. Like that'll be the test. If you get sucked in after 10 minutes, you might like anime. But if you're not feeling it at all, you probably will never like anime. Because the way they do it, the story, they like get you involved fast. And that's what I think a lot don't hit for me, because a lot of animes are like Marvel movies where it's like the first chunk of time is going to be origin story, right? It's going to be like the build up. You never get into like the boss fight, like until Steve Rogers had to be thin and wiry. He got to be like sickly looking before you get to the boss fights, right? So that's what it is. It's like that's the only knock I see in a lot of animes, is like that beginning is just so slow. It's like the build up just takes too much time. I can't tell you how many I've started and stopped just because I'm like, I cannot watch another episode where it's just like building up. But if that's been you, try Demon Slayer. If you haven't seen it, that one hits the ground running. That's a really good one. The style is beautiful. The opening is like probably top 5 openings of all time. I can't remember if Lisa is the artist who does that, but she does a lot of openings, and she's got that crazy cool voice. But yeah, the modern ones, like I said, Tokyo Ghoul was the one that like set it off for me, where I was like exploring all the way. Pretty much anyone I can get my hands on, I was like into it. Like nowadays, it's taking a backseat just because I'm on this Korean drama kick. But it's still like anime has such a soft spot in my heart. Like if anyone's ever suggested to watch it, I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Cut it on. Or like, I can't tell you how cozy it is when I go back home and like my brothers or my sisters are watching anime. Like I had Sam and Evan up here last year sometime, and they came to visit, and I think they were in like this really they were in the thick of Naruto, and I had never got into Naruto, and I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know how to pronounce most things I say, but they were thick into Naruto, and it was just cozy to have on. It's just something that like if you don't want to invest brain power in it, you don't have to. You can just stare at the screen and just admire like the movement and the music and all that. Like you don't have to like know what's going on really to even appreciate it, but like it's perfect to have on when you want to take a nap. So that's a plus. But it's like one of the coziest things to have on in the background. So I always love when like if I'm at a friend's house and they have it on or they're playing it, because it's just like it just feels good. It's almost akin to like having a 90s movie on in the background. It's that same kind of just comfort. But yeah, I still never got into Naruto. I'm sorry. I know people will like look shocked when I say that. It's just too many episodes. It's just too much. Like my my perfect ones are 1 or 2 seasons, kind of dark. There's no you know super long training arc at the beginning. Like My Hero Academia, I couldn't, because it's like I know for the first probably season it's just all training. I don't want that. I like the ones where like Tokyo Ghoul, he gets like bitten by a ghoul. No spoilers. That's the first episode. But he gets bitten by a ghoul from the start. Maybe first 10 minutes of the episode. And then that changes everything. Right? So now he's dealing with like in that world, it's like a vampire. You start turning into it. And so he's like, you're learning immediately as he's learning what that means and what like the behaviors of ghouls are, and like what what happens. Like you're finding out as he's finding out what's going on with him, and it's like bloody and a little gory and spooky and scary, and then like jump scares sometimes, and it's dark, but it's perfect because it's like from jump you are in it. There's no 15 episode arc at the beginning where he's figuring out his powers and you're like, there's no like, it's not like a huge origin arc. I just am not a fan of those. Like put me in the middle of it, like Saving Private Ryan style. Like put me in the middle of the gunfight and let's go from there. Actually, that's like most of my favorite like movies of all time. Like I love when you're just, and it's funny. We were talking to my dad about this, and he's the opposite. He doesn't like being dropped into the middle of things. He likes to know where things came from. He likes to have that, flow where, you start here, you go here, this is where you're at, and then because of that you go here, right? But I am the opposite. I like to be dropped in the center of the chaos. And you don't have to explain it to me. You don't have to. I'll figure it out as we go. If you tell the story right, I'll get there with you. I like when movies or TV shows like respect me enough to like acknowledge, okay, he's gonna figure it out, or they're gonna figure it out along the way. Like those are my favorite stories, because I don't, honestly, my attention span, like I for TV shows and movies, like it's so low these days. If it's not a book or a Korean drama or an anime, it's like, or a movie I've already watched, like a comfort movie, I probably won't watch it. And a lot of it has to do with that. It's just every movie is like the same, or I feel like every show, it's like, that's the same formula. We meet them, we see their origin, maybe there's a love interest, and then you just natural progression. You just go from there. There's something it has to overcome, and then it ends. They either overcame it, or sometimes they don't overcome it. But I like the ones you just drop in the middle, and you're just flailing around, like, what's happening? Like, who is that? What's this? But like, it makes it exciting. It makes me get past that first initial part, where by the time I look at it, and by the time I have things like roughly figured out, we're halfway into this thing, and I'm like, okay, cool. And that's what Tokyo Ghoul is like, and Demon Slayer. It's like you from 5-10 minutes in, you're like, what is going on? Who is that? Why is this? And like, they sprinkle in the backstory as you go. They sprinkle in details that you need as you go, and that's how I think a lot of shows. That's my favorite kind of show, at least. That's my favorite kind of, yeah. yeah, that I think that would be my one knock on anime. Like a lot of like I don't know, a lot of them are different. Like it's not like one. When I say anime, it's not just one single like experience, right? It's just like movies. It's like any other like media form. There's a million different iterations of it, but a lot of them, a lot of the popular ones at least, they have that first training arc that is just, to me, that's the death of my interest in it. Like that's, nah, I can't do those those just kill me. But I'd be curious, what's the animes you got into as a child, or if you didn't get into them, like why didn't you like them, or what don't you like about them? This is like, you know, it's so, because obviously I only know my perspective. I only know, you know, like I said, it could have been wildly different. I could have been the one that was like, what's anime? That's gross. If I had not like just we've not stumbled upon it like 3 p.m. after school. For some reason, we clicked on Cartoon Network, and then now we're introduced to this whole other world. You know, what would have filled that void, or what I could have easily been like, and never even understood what was going on, and never even like explored that. It's kind of like me and Marvel. It's like how I am with Marvel. I could have been with anime. Like Marvel now, I'm like, I don't get it. I don't watch. I've seen a few, but like even when I'm watching them, I'm like, I don't really want to watch this. It's just not my cup of tea. Not my speed. You know, there's so many characters, and they're all showing up in each other's movies, and I'm like, I thought I was watching Captain America. Why is the dude from Thor in this? And it's like, then Sam Jackson's in every single one, and I'm like, how much does he get paid for this? And I'm like, Benedict Cumberbatch, what is going on? You're in one? What is happening? I don't understand any. And it's like, there's so much, and it's like, there's so many storylines. You know what breaks down for me? Okay. It's probably going to be a hot take. Movies, that's the one thing I don't like. Like, if you're going to make a bunch of movies, right? I'm going to need it to be a linear timeline. Which is funny because I just told you I don't like stories like that. But like, if you're making an entire movie, like Star Wars, yo, that's why I don't mess with Star Wars. I've seen maybe one in total. Or one, like I've seen 20 minutes of each movie, maybe. But like, if I know going in, this is the middle of the story, and you're gonna jump around, you're gonna do these, and then come back to this, I'm out. I can't do that. That's too much. That's too much brain power. Like, that's too much respect for the audience. I can't. Disrespect me a little bit. Like, I can't keep up. You know. Like, I was fine with Marvel when it was like, I think, Captain America, and I don't remember what was coming out at the time. Like I said, I'm not really big on them. But like, as soon as they started, like, oh, by the way, the story, the timeline in this one is back here before this movie was made. My God, then why didn't you just make the movie then? If you knew this was the timeline, why didn't you just make it at the time? Make it a line. Make it a timeline, not a time circle. And I feel like that's an exact quote from Doctor Strange, but I've never seen it. No, I just can't. I can't. When there's too much going on, there's like, okay, so you're telling me he shows up in this one, but technically he's supposed to be back here, and then she's in this, but she's over here in her own world, and these worlds, and then you throw in a multiverse? And I went to school for astronomy. So I know all about verses, right? The universe, the omniverse. I know, but if you doing it in context of Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, aka People's Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive, even though Idris Elba exists, aka the guy from Cellular. I can't follow you. I literally can't follow you. I can't. There's just too much going on. I'm like, what in the world? I cannot. And then Guardians of the Galaxy is like tangentially related or something. And it's like, I like my boy Chris Pratt, and Zoe Saldana is like, I love her, but what is happening? It's too much. It's too much. I can't do it. Anyways, that's we probably won't. This is all I'm ever. Well, I'm gonna bring up Marvel probably, because it's funny. But yeah, this is the most in depth I've gone into Marvel. But I do not. Either I don't understand it, and I don't really watch it. Like, I can't. And also, why are your movies 2.5 hours long? Each one? Like, it's crazy to me that they keep breaking records, keep breaking the bank. Like, people just keep wanting to see them, and they keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and more massive. Like, that's insane. Like, good for them. Like, good. I'm glad. Like, and don't get me wrong. I am not bashing anybody. Like, do love what you love. Like what you like. I'm so glad that people like have something like this to like look forward to, and something that they're so excited about that they'll cosplay, or like they'll, they can't wait for the next one, or, they'll stay at the end of the credits to watch to see if something. Like, I love that for people. Like, I love that for us. It's just not for me personally. Like, I just don't understand. So that's what I'm saying. Is like, that's the equivalent to anime for me. It's like how I'm pretty sure people who love Marvel the same way I love anime is that kind of, where I don't understand what's going on. Just, the correlation, the similarity, I guess. But like I said, I did like Captain America. I like that one. Why is Sam Jackson there? Can someone tell me what is his role in those movies? No one has ever explained it to me. Is he just there? And why has he got an eye patch? I know Sam Jackson can see. I've seen other movies he's in. He doesn't have an eye patch. Is that a character choice? Is he like Cyclops? Can he like shoot a laser out of it? What's the story? Because keep in mind, I'm never going to watch the movie, so I'm not going to find out for myself. That's for sure. I don't have 2.5 hours. Like, I don't, in reality, I do have 2.5 hours. That's like 2.5 episodes of a Korean drama, which I definitely did that today. Like, I was almost late to this because I was like 2.5 hours deep into Run On, right? But I don't know. People like what they like. I like what I like. You like what you like. That's the beauty of it. That's what's cool. But man, anime is something special. It's like, I don't know. I can't explain it. All I know is like, I like, whenever I find out someone likes anime, and I like, that makes me immediately like them. It's funny. It's like something I bond with like immediately. I don't even need to know the person really. But as soon as I hear them talk about like, oh yeah, I love Demon Slayer, then I'm like, all right, let's talk. It's like, I don't get that way about sports. I don't get that way about a lot of things. Books is probably the only other thing. Books are. But like, not even with movies, but anime is that trigger right there where it's like, if I find out you like anime, oh, we besties. Like, there's like that shared, there's that camaraderie and that shared shame from like growing up along with it. Yeah, I really want to date a girl who likes anime. I feel like that'd be really cool. You know, I've always had like these daydreams. You know, I've always imagined dating a woman who like will read poetry to each other. But like add to that list, I really would like to know what it's like to date a woman who likes anime, like genuinely likes it. Cause I feel like that'd be fun. You know, having someone who could introduce me to ones, or like I could introduce her to some. That'd be really cool. Um, one of my favorite artists, tattoo artists down here, who's done a lot of my stuff. She's done quite a bit. She goes by Becca Boo Tattoos. So if you're ever down in North Carolina in the Charlotte area, they got a shop. Her and her husband have a shop, and he goes by Jacob Green Tattoos. That's a shout out. They both do awesome work, and they have a studio called In Love Tattoos. And I've gotten quite a few of my stuff from her. But they are big in anime, and they're so cool. They're so funny, and that's all we ever talk about now when I go up and get work done is they put me onto One Punch Man, which made me laugh a lot. So that was a good one. And they put me on to, I haven't seen it yet, but Jujutsu Kaisen. I really want to watch that one because I heard it's similar to Demon Slayer, so I'll probably love it. Like kind of a darker, like, but still fighting style. But yeah, like it's just so cool to me when I meet people who also like are big fans, and like they're around my age too. I think they're like the same age as me, and it's like, it's almost like when you find out, it's like you can picture them in like elementary school, and you know that like, okay, they probably were bullied a little bit, or like they had to hide it too because it just was not cool. The climate was not cool for anime in the 90s for Americans. At least where I grew up, like I grew up in the Midwest. Maybe it was different out in the coast or different in the cities. I don't know. I doubt it though. But you never know. But yeah, it's always so much fun to meet someone who likes it. And like the best is when like you don't find out until later. Like I have a friend who, like, he's really cool. He's like he's a little less chill than me, but like he's still cool. And not that you have to be chill to be cool, but it helps. But I had known him for maybe even a year. Going on probably like a year. And then I think we just had one conversation, and it was like an off conversation. I'd been watching an anime at the time, and I think I referenced Attack on Titan, or like I said, no, I gotta go home. I'm like in the middle of Attack on Titan or something. He's like, wait, you watch Attack on Titan? I was like, wait, you watch anime? And he's like, yeah, bruh. I grew up on anime. And I'm like, oh. And it's like that Step Brothers, that classic. Did we just become best friends? Yep. 100%. Because it's like that bond from a fellow anime lover. It's different. It's different. But yeah. So we still talk about, we still give each other like suggestions like to this day. And that was like years ago. But like we still hit up each other like, hey, have you seen, this yet? Have you seen Violet Evergarden? Have you seen, all these other ones that, are popping off? He's trying to put me onto Spy Family now. Spy Family and is it Bunko Stray Dogs? I can't remember what something like that. Those two he's trying to put me on. But yeah, I love seeing people love it too. Like it makes my heart. I follow some like some blogs that like are anime heavy, and I got friends and like my friends who like anime, like I always see them posting on like Facebook or Instagram, and I always like them because it's like, yo, that it makes my heart happy when I see I'm not going to put their names out there because I don't want to, put their business out there. But Um, uh, two in particular, like one's my brother's friend in high school, and one's my sister's friend from high school, and real cool people, and they'll post like a lot of anime stuff, and like sometimes like I'll even ask for like recommendations, and they'll like recommend stuff, and always on point. And it's and she like, I know she cosplays sometimes, and she likes Tokyo Ghoul too, and but I'm so glad, like I love seeing it. I'll immediately instant, like I'll like it or love it or whatever it is, like, because I'm like, yo, I see you, I love it, I love that for you. It just makes me happy to see that like other people who enjoy it, and like I didn't know they watched it growing up. Like I didn't know, because we never ever talked about it. Like nobody, it wasn't cool to talk about, or like, you just. But now everyone's like more confident, more comfortable with who they are. So it's like, and not saying that it's with them specifically, but like me, like that was just my experience. It's like now it's like I don't care if you don't mess with it, or you think of like me as like weird. Like I know I'm weird, but like I like what I like. So now you're gonna see what I like if you're following me on social media. But I like seeing like people like kind of just talk about it, because like I love when people talk about their interests. We've talked about before. It's like, if you don't like it, why am I don't want to like it. Like I'm not gonna like it if you're talking about something you don't even like. But like when you're talking about something you love or you enjoy, hell yeah, brother. Let's get into that. But how long we been going? It's about 2 hours deep into this, man. I think I haven't even eaten dinner yet. I'll be honest, I forgot I had chicken in the fridge, like a raw chicken. I bought chicken thighs like on Monday maybe, and I just forgot. I put them in that, that drawer, that crisper drawer in your fridge. That's where things go to die, pretty much. Like you put veggies or stuff in there, and you might as well just throw them in the trash. Like you might as well, like when you're like taking them, like unloading your grocery bags, you might as well, you maybe open up that crisper, just go ahead and shut it, go to the trash can, toss it in. Every time. It's because it's unseen. It's like, how many times am I pulling out that drawer? And I swear things go bad way quicker when it's in there. Like, I don't know if it's a humidity setting. I don't know what it is. But as soon as I put some, I could put in a fresh thing of spinach in that crisper. I pull it out 30 seconds later. I pull it out. It'd be tinged like brown somehow. Like time works differently in that little crisper. But I messed up, and I put the chicken thighs in that little crisper, and I forgot about them until last night. Like for some reason, I like in my dreams, like I woke up at maybe like 1 a.m, and I think it was because I went to bed so early, so I didn't eat, so I was hungry. But I woke up at like 1, and I was like, I got them chicken thighs that I was gonna grill. I was like, ooh. So I pulled them out today, and they don't. I gotta toss them. Like they ain't right. But so yeah, I haven't eaten dinner, and I was gonna order a pizza. I was gonna even like maybe order some Chinese or some. I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm feeling. Maybe I'll just eat ramen. I'll probably just make a little bowl of ramen. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You know that crisper drawer. You know that hidden drawer that speeds up time. You put in like fresh fruit. Like you put in some strawberries, like a little box of strawberries in there. And not 3 hours later, you come out and they looking all green and moldy and looking like a forest. And you're like, how? You put them in that top drawer, they pristine for like 6 hours. I don't get it. I do not get it. But yeah, I don't know. What are y'all eating for dinner? What are y'all doing for a Saturday night meal? Because over here it's going on. It's going on 9:40, almost 10 o'clock. So it's almost just too late to like go out and get something, which is like the worst. That's that worst spot because it's like by the time like I'll honestly I'll go on my phone and like look up spots, but like by the time I even decide on something, it'll be closed. So that's usually just when I either make something quick or eat some cereal or have ice cream. But yeah, I'd be curious to hear. We're gonna do this again because there are a lot I left out and a lot of different pieces of it that intrigue me, and we can get into more in the storylines of things. Like that Frieza saga in Dragon Ball Z. That was one of my favorite storylines of any show or any form of media I've ever watched. Like Goku teaming up with his mortal enemy Vegeta, and then trying to fight an evil bigger than they'd ever faced before. And like even fighting his little minions first, and then eventually fighting Frieza, and then figuring out he gets stronger. If you get close to killing him, he gets stronger. And that whole like thing, man, that was such a good ride. Like that was so, even though Goku spent like 17 episodes in a hyperbolic like healing chamber, it was still like, that's still to this day one of my favorite storylines of any show of all time. Yeah, I love Dragon Ball Z. And if you've never seen Inuyasha, that's one I recommend too. Like that one's much more of like a fantasy, like a not I guess sci-fi, but more like a almost feels like a fable or like a folk tale. Like I said, it feels a lot like Princess Mononoke, like where it's like very forest heavy. It's very green and lush, and it's like back in the old world, wherever that is in I guess Japan, feudal Japan. I don't know what that means. Feudal Japan. I just hear it. I don't know what it means. But it's like back in the older days, and it's about a demon or a half demon and a human, and how they it's just so good. And when I started, I don't know. So the thing is that also I think the main girl Kikyo, I guess she's a student at the time, but I was so young when I watched it, it wasn't weird to me. Like, you know how Goblin, like that's real weird to me because now I'm an adult and I can see with adult eyes. I'm like, nah, that's sketchy. But I was like 10 when I started watching Inuyasha, so I didn't get the dynamics of like age or like how old is Inuyasha supposed to be? I don't know. So maybe that might be the reason you pass on that one, but it just sucks you into this world. And the music, like I said, the music is where it's at. Like the outro on Inuyasha, the one where it's like kind of wintry scene, and you see like a Ferris wheel, lit up Ferris wheel, and the ending credits. Best outro song I think of all time. It's amazing. It's so good. It is such a good song. But yeah, this was fun. I liked anime night. Like I said, we didn't fully get into everything, but it's a good start. We'll do an anime night part 2 for sure. And I'm thinking, yeah, if I recommend Demon Slayer on Netflix, if you've never gotten into anime, oh, that's tough because now I'm thinking of like, it depends on what you're into. obviously, because I think my sister Sam, she's not into like the fighting animes or like the really fight heavy ones. Like Demon Slayer's fight heavy, so it's very much more action driven. But you can find anything. You can find, the darker ones, the psychological ones, like Death Note. You can find the action ones. You can find the romantic comedy ones, because that's a big genre that I didn't even really touch today, except for Your Lie in April. But there's very much like a bubbly, a bubbly version of anime where it's like cutesy and happy, and there's no fighting. It's just like slice of life, like, stories. Some of them are like students, like high school or college students, and some are like, older, like adult stories, but they're still like, they're just cute and they're funny and they make you feel good. They put you in like a happy space. But yeah, so it's really, it's tough to recommend, I guess. But if you like action, I'd say Demon Slayer. But yeah, this was a good one. I'd never figured out how to pronounce Studio Ghibli, but we're gonna do that one of these days too, because that's a whole other. That's a dive deep, man. That's like feels. That's like, man. Though if you grew up with those, that specific kind of love you have for those, and the feeling that you get when you watch them. It just takes you to a completely different place. I've been trying to learn a few of those songs on the piano. Speaking of piano, I've been trying to learn. So that Chopin piece I was learning, I kind of dropped it because I'm not gonna lie to you, it was technically complicated. And it's one of his easier pieces, but it was like, that took some brain power, and I was not about it. Especially with these allergies like kicking my butt. So now I'm working on this Brahms piece, and Brahms is my all-time favorite composer. I keep missing the stand. You keep seeing me. Do you see me like reaching for this? But like, Brahms is my all-time favorite, and so I've been learning my favorite piece from him. It's an intermezzo, Opus 117, number 1. If you have 5 minutes to spare, I recommend. That's I guess the song of the day, but I recommend giving that a go. And it's like just one of the most beautiful pieces. Like it's got so many resolutions and so many, like, I almost said flashbacks, but you know what I mean, where it references the like a prior measure, or like, it's just, and the end, the way it resolves at the end, like, is so beautiful. That's what I'm most looking forward to. Like, that's why I picked a piece that like I love, because I want to be able to, that was like my goal starting piano, was like to play this piece, actually to play all 3 pieces, but we're gonna start with one. But I wanna get to the end of it, because the end, the last probably 30 seconds, the last minute of that song is like my favorite minute of any song I've ever written. And it blows my mind that he like composed that in like, I think 1892 or like the late 1800s, something like that. So it's like my favorite piece of music is 120 years old. Like somebody 120 years ago wrote the piece that affects me currently the most. That's insane when you think about it. That somebody can create something like that. And it's, I'm in 2023 and that's my favorite. Wild. Absolutely wild. But yeah, that's what I'm learning now. So I went to this cute cafe this afternoon and just did a little transcribing, because it's in E flat major, which I'm not that familiar with. And then it goes to minor, and I was just like trying to get my head around it. It's easy for me to wrap it around if I like kind of notated and, you know. So that's what I'm doing now, is trying to play that one, and we'll see how it goes. But, and I had some hot cocoa today, and it was delicious at that same cafe. But I guess I'm getting hungry. I think that's what it is. I hope you enjoyed anime night. Like I said, I'd be curious. Leave in the comments or the chat, like what your experience of anime was. Like if you messed with it, if you loved it, like let me know. If you didn't, if you still don't, let me know. I'm always curious of like the perception of like what people think when I say I like an anime. Like it's just so curious to me, because like I don't care, but it's just interesting to like learn how it's perceived nowadays. But yeah, any anime lovers out there, man, you know your boy's single, so I mean, I really do daydream about that sometimes, like having somebody who like also enjoys it like I do, to be able to just kick it and watch it, like come home. You know how I guess romantic in my mind, or like just cool it is in my head to like think about coming home from work on like a Thursday evening, coming home after work and just kicking it on the couch and watching Attack on Titan with somebody, like snuggled up in the blankets, just watching, you know, just Naruto, or like something I don't know. It's cute to me. It's cute. It's like merging my romantic life and like my childhood together. It's like a lot like when we were talking about how it's just nice to talk about people who are also in the 90s. Like, you know, you get those friends that remember the 90s as well, so then you don't have to explain things. It's like that same kind of thing. I think a lot of it is just like connection. If we're going to the root of things, like connecting with someone who like anime was a big part of my childhood, like watching it, like the excitement for the next episode, you know, watch next time on Dragon Ball Z, even though all Goku did that whole entire episode was sit in the hyperbolic, you know, chamber, or the healing chamber, and just sat there for 24 minutes while Krillin got his butt kicked, you know, for like four episodes straight. And how he ended up with Android, is it Android 18 or 19? I don't know. He ended up with a dime piece, but you know, we both chrome domes. He's just like me, so there's hope, I guess. But no, it's like that. Like it's just the connection. It's like, you know, you. The goal is to connect, right? That's all. I feel like a big part of human existence is connection, and feeling like you are part of things, or feeling like you're connected to somebody or something. So, and like one step above that connection is like connection without having to explain, you know, almost that innate, like, you know, oh, you get it. Like, you know, you get that spark when you're with somebody who like, oh, they get it. And that's a big thing. It's like anime was a big part of growing up. So it's like when I don't have to explain that to somebody, or like don't have to make excuses for it, or like don't have to hide it away. And not only hide it, I can like, you know, be proud of it, and like be like, you know, excited about it. Because honestly, like in a few relationships I've been in, like I would hide it away, because it's like I would pretty much know from jump, like, oh, they're not really messing with that. And like like even a few were like, just like, nah, I'm not about that. I don't want that. I don't mess with it. I almost felt like guilty for like liking it, or guilty for like watching it, because of how strongly they reacted toward it in a negative way. And that like kind of, I don't know. But like to be on the other side of that, I don't know what that's like. I would love to be like encouraged to, not encouraged, but like just joined in on it, you know. And I don't want they know also like what it was like to like it in the 90s. And I don't know, I'm talking a lot about this daydream, but it's maybe people out there are like me. Maybe maybe you also want to date someone who's into anime, or maybe you've dated somebody who's into anime and you're like, nah, I don't ever want to date someone who's into anime. So I guess it just depends on your perspective and what you like. But like I said, I would love maybe the next woman I date, we could just have some anime dates. That sounds cool to me. That sounds cool. Now I've never been a cosplayer, but I would consider it. You know, if the person I was with was like into it, or like thought it, I've always thought like maybe one time I would go to like a Comic Con or like someplace and like dress up as something like a character. Maybe like it'd be easy, like One Punch Man or Krillin, because I don't have hair. But it'd also be like I'd anything. Jack Skeleton. Like I'd be open to cosplay for sure. It's never come up. But, and also, I know some of y'all out there, y'all know what I mean when I say some of them cosplayers. Like that's a different kind of merging your childhood love. Like that's more like childhood lust. Or like, nah, that's a bad way to don't cut that. We ain't like like attraction and now you're grown ups, right? Merging that together, like the best way that I can, when someone dressing up as Bulma nowadays and they're grown like me, like spicy. It's funny. Like I watch a bunch of streamers and it's so cool because like I guess maybe it's just how I naturally gravitated toward like-minded people, but like most of the streamers I watch now all grew up with anime or watch anime or reference anime from time to time, and they don't think of it as weird, or maybe they did, but like now they're talking to the communities who are like like me, they like anime. So it's really cool to hear whenever I hear people referencing it. And maybe this is what it is for you. Maybe you haven't thought about Gundam Wing in forever, and now you're thinking about it, or you're hearing somebody else talk about it. Or maybe you never even gave a second thought to Sailor Moon or Sailor Mars, but now you are, right? But I think that's I don't know. I would definitely cosplay, 100%. What should I go as? I don't know. I'm getting a little bit thicker, so anything's on the table, really. You see, I got the cutoffs today with my Yu Yu Hakusho. I don't know if you can see it. I wore this specific. Oh, you can see it, yeah, for sure. But I wore this specifically for Anime Day, as you can tell. And I put on pants today, so it's a whole new world out there. A whole new world. But yeah, those trees are trying to beat me up, man. Those trees are beating me down. Just bashing my lungs real quick. But we press on. I hope you guys are having amazing Saturday evenings. I hope wherever this finds you, you're safe and you're loved and you're warm and you're cozy. I hope you're eating some yummy food right now, or you're about to eat some yummy food. I hope you had a few laughs today. I hope you had some of those like gut busting laughs, like those ones that you just almost crying laughing. Like I hope you had some of those this week. I hope you're watching a show that you really enjoy, or I hope that you're reading a book that you really love, or listening to a new album that you just discovered. I hope you're having deep conversations with the people you love. Those late night talks, those are special. I hope that you get the chance to go outside and look at the stars from time to time, and just remember that they're out there, and remember that they exist. I hope the moon keeps you company. I hope you're not doing too sad or being too sad, but if you are, that's okay too. I'm glad you're here. I'm gonna sign off. I don't know what we're gonna do for the next. The next one will probably be maybe Monday night or Tuesday night. Probably similar time after work. I don't know what we're gonna talk about just yet. I don't know. I kind of like the idea of doing one or two topics based ones, or maybe one topic based, and then one music stream, and then one just chatting. Like, how does that feel for you? Is that I don't know, that just seems how it just naturally fallen, and I kind of really enjoy it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm looking forward to like another music stream after like a long day of work. Like, that Sade night was everything. I love that. It's just nice to kind of zone out, and it's what I'd be doing anyway. I'd just be playing loud music and kind of putting myself in a good little headspace before bed. But it was kind of nice to do it here. But yeah, let me know what you think. I kind of enjoy that. That might be what this looks like for the next few weeks. It just feels okay. It feels good. Did anybody ask your friends or your coworkers or your loved ones if they're happy? Did anybody go down that rabbit hole and see where it led? I'm curious. Because I didn't want to sound, I don't know, after that last one I was thinking I was sounding too preachy and too on a soapbox. That's not what this is. That's just I don't know. I don't want to, if I in my day to day, I never give advice. Unless someone comes up to me and asks me specifically, then it's my experiences are my experiences, your experiences are your experiences. I'm not one to because what worked for me might not work for you. I can only tell you based on my experience, what it is or what I've gone through. So I don't want to be in a space where I'm lecturing or coming from a place of knowledge. No, that's not what this is about. This is just free form chatting, and vibing and bouncing ideas off. So I that was the only worry from last one. Is I don't want to be preachy. It's a curiosity for me. It's I'm so curious about how people are really doing and are they really happy? So I was do other people do that too? Or, what would it look like if we all did that a little more? Now, honestly, I think I might have said it'd be a better place. I don't know if it'd be a better place, but it'd be different. So I guess that's my thing. Is I hope I didn't come off that way. I'm more of exploratory. I'm more curious. The curiosity in me. It's not and it's I don't want to. Like I said, I'm not one to usually give advice. If it comes up, if I get asked specifically about something, I'm gonna maybe share from my point of view. But like I said, I'm not perfect, but I don't have all the answers. I don't even have half the answers. I don't even have answers that I need. I just speak, and sometimes it's funny, and sometimes it's not, and sometimes it's nerdy. And I talk about allergies a lot, and I joke around, and nothing I say should be, taken as fact or anything like that. This is all just fun and just hanging out, getting cozy. So yeah, I hope I will try. I don't know. I just say what I think. I just say what comes to mind, and it's only after the fact that I'm oh man, dang I hope this didn't mean that, or I hope I didn't sound like that. Like a lot of things don't translate, how you want to translate, especially kind of in this format, you know, like that's why I say I prefer to be like in person and prefer to like have that connection, that one-on-one where you can see reaction, you can hear tone of voice, a lot of things get lost, like sarcasm, and like it just get lost in a lot of this, because like I can't see a reaction, or I can't see, I don't know, like, oh, you understand, like I was joking, and that's like you're there, and then I'm gonna keep going with it, right? But here it's like I don't know if it's hitting, so maybe I go too far. I don't know. It is what it is. Bye, Sandy. I'll see you later. I'm glad it was fun. I'm glad you were here. That makes me happy. I hope you have a really good night. But yeah, I'm not, like I said, I'm not one to give advice. And if I am, it's more of like a joking term. It's not like it's never, it's always like, if you can keep that like in mind, it's always like, this is what worked for me, but I'm not saying it's going to work for you. Right. It's like, I don't know anything. I just know my experiences and my path, and that brings us to today. But I'm gonna probably go make some ramen, because it is now after 10, so I gotta get something in my belly before bed. And your boy's gonna watch some more of that Korean drama, obviously. But I matched with someone on Hinge the other day. She was really cute. And then like 30 minutes later, after we had like exchanged like hellos, she was gone, right? I was like, dang it, man, she was real cute. And then like later that day, I got an email saying, oh, this user that you matched with has been reported for scamming. What? So be safe out there, y'all. Be safe on these dating apps, man. Apparently that's I mean, I've heard of, look, catfishing is a thing. Hatfishing is a thing, But people out here gonna be scamming. Watch yourselves. Be safe. That's all I'm gonna say. No matter how cute they are, you never know. So be safe. Bring a buddy. Make that first date a group date, or meet somewhere safe and in public that you're comfortable with. Have a friend. Tell a friend that you're going on that date. Whatever it is, be safe. Be safe. Be safe. Be safe. Like, I am so honestly, I'm just getting into a whole bunch of stuff, but I am so curious. Like, and I don't want to freak anybody out. So if you don't want to be freaked out, stop it here. But I am so curious how dating apps and like ride sharing has like affected the climate of like serial killers. Like, I almost don't Google it because I don't want to know. No, I don't Google it because I don't want to know. But like, I am so curious how many active serial killers are on dating apps or like rideshare apps. Like, it's something I think about, like when I'm in a foreign city and I have to use like Uber or Lyft or whatever I'm using. Like, I'm like, dang, this is like the perfect scenario for a killer to get me. Like, I'm in their hands. Like, that's so scary to me. Like, I'm like, is this how it is to be a woman just existing? What? Or like, is this how it feels to be like I don't know, any any kind of, I don't know, it's just crazy to me. But like dating apps, like that's terrifying. Like this was like not the first time, like, it's like like I don't meet with anybody who I'm not like almost like 100%. At least they're a real human, like a real person, and then I'm gonna meet them in public, and I'm the guy, like, or I'm the, like, as a straight man, it's like I'm meeting women, so it's like in this scenario, I'm the scary one, right? I'm the one that's usually like 99 times out of 100, like I'm the one that's like you should be, the one to be wary of. So it's like I don't really have to worry too much. But even then, I'm like, we're meeting in a public place, more for them to feel comfortable, but like also like you never know. But like I'm so curious, like how many serial killers are on dating apps now, and like you're not gonna find out until Dateline or something, like in 5 years time or 10 years down the road, there was like so and so killer, like the Uber annihilator, or like the tender tomahawk, like things like, whatever it is, the hinge hanger, like things like some serial killer who gets some like crazy nickname, like who's doing it now, but like is not caught or like not publicized, because it's like that'd be bad for a business, right? Who's gonna go on Tinder if there's a axe wielding like serial killer? Well, some girls these days, some people these days. When did so many people just want to be choked? We're getting into all right, we're getting into some territory that we're getting off anime for sure. Well, but and just to be clear, like this space is inclusive to everyone. I know I say men and women a lot, but that's just, I'm sorry, it's something I'm trying to be more conscious of and focus on, is making this inclusive for everybody, for however you identify, whatever pronouns, whatever, anything, trans, bi, gay, everyone is welcome here. Any this is a safe space for all of us. So I apologize if I'm really heavy on using like men and women like that. I apologize. I'm trying to do better and be more informed and well versed in the climate and people, and so I want that to be clear. It's like this is a space for everyone, and if I can do better at using better language to include everyone, please say the word. That's a big focus for me. So I just want that to be out there. But yeah, I am so curious about like what it looks like in 10 years when all these reports start like popping up, because it's like, it's not like killers just go away, right? It's like they've been all around for centuries, and if we can go back, we can go further back if we're talking like wartime killers, like that's always existed. So but like serial killing just, it adapts, right? It just evolves, with technology and like like political and social climates, in some era, like hitchhiking, you could hitchhike, and that was nope. And then killers are like, that's a perfect way to kill somebody, hitchhiking. And then they ban hitchhiking, and like they make a point, because like if enough people are dying that you got to make a sign on the interstate to not do it, to not pick up hitchhikers. That's not good. That's way too much killing. And I think one killing is too much killing. But like if you have enough to like, you have to put signs all across the country to not pick up hitchhikers. And I don't know if that's where it spawned from, but like if then that, like that just seems to be like, sketchy. Like, but like it, like, then once hitchhiking was banned, they find their own like new ways. And it's like, what's to say somebody's not just full on going crazy on Tinder or like matching with people and you never hear from them again. So I don't know. I didn't mean to freak you out. It's just something that like popped in my head after this whole scam thing when like I got that email from this scam and I was like, and then my brain started just taking it to a place where it's like, what if in some, maybe in this timeline or an alternate timeline, what if that person eventually got me to meet up with them and then killed me or like took me back and like had me killed or whatever the situation, like that like perked my ears up a little bit. I'm like, I just started to question it. Like, you really don't know who's out there. Like, you don't know. Anybody could download these apps. And like, the thing is, to me, the creepy thing to me, the scary thing to me is like, I am not like, have any, like, I don't know. I would say I don't really have a violent, like, unless you're messing with people I love, I'm gonna let you do you. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't have any kind of violent tendencies in me. But like, even just looking at it from like a Criminal Minds like episode based, it's like, so you're telling me all these people sign up on an app to meet strangers? Like, wouldn't that be like a serial killer's like playground? Like all these people and anonymity. That's so hard for me to say. Anonymity is like key. Like you could post. You don't even have to have your own picture. Like you could. I don't know. It's a slippery slope. Because then it's like, man. Then I start getting wary of everybody, and then I'm like, I don't trust. And I stay off dating apps for a minute. It's like that. That's probably a smart choice actually. But that's such a creepy thought. Like it unboxed a lot for me, where it's like, and I'm not even usually the target demographic, right? It's like, from what I've read, like, or what I know, most serial killers are, white men, or at the very least men. So it's like they're not, I'm not the one that's getting targeted for the most part. But even me, like, that worried, like, that scares me. Like, people, what if we need to, I hope the FBI, I hope somebody is on it. I hope there's a task force or somebody like monitoring this stuff, because if not, man, I am terrified that like all the Dateline episodes or 2020 episodes that are going to come out, like, and they met online, they met on Tinder, and she was never heard from again. Like, that's terrifying. So be safe, man. Check. Be safe. You never know. Like, that is so, that gives me the heebie-jeebies. Because it's like, why wouldn't serial killers utilize that? Like, that's what I always fall back on. Is like, you don't even got to be the smartest box in the rock, or the smartest rock in the box. You don't have to be like the sharpest to see that, if someone uses this for bad, like, that's the breeding ground for like creepy behavior. Like, it's just perfect for what they want to do, I guess. Like, there's no we're done. I'm done. I don't want to get into it anymore. That's gonna make me feel weird tonight. I apologize for ending it where we ended it. We were talking about such lovely topics before, but now I'm definitely gonna need to watch that episode of Korean drama. I need something happy. I need a will they won't they situation. A Ross Rachel kind of situation. Which, by the way, Rachel was way too good for Ross. Let's say it. Rachel was way too good for Ross. He didn't deserve her at all. Not on his best day did he deserve Rachel on her worst day. It was cute in the beginning, but that was not end game. And I even, while I'm watching it, like, the first time I watched it, I was like, okay, I kind of want them to be together, but it's not end game. It's like, she deserves so much better. I would rather her be with Joey. than Ross. Ross was just like, Ross was the color tan in human form. You know, he's like he got that beige energy about him. You know, and there's nothing wrong with beige, but not every day. You know, and Rachel was more. She was like a forest green. What's her last name? Green? Rachel Green. Yeah, she was like a green, and I feel like greens need more blues in their life, or greens need more reds. You know, something that matches their brilliance. You know, beiges are fine for, for creams and, eggshell whites, but she was too good for him. That's just all. We all knew it. Let's all just admit it. Also, if you're a Ross fan out there, and don't get me wrong, Ross makes me laugh, but if Ross is your favorite character, that's a red flag for me. That's an automatic red flag for me. Like, I'm not gonna say you're problematic, but no, it's just, I don't know. Ross had a lot of things that, like, he was problematic. But he was dopey and he was funny sometimes, so I get it. Because I did enjoy him as a character. He was funny, but if he's your favorite character, you might want to reevaluate. Might need to do some introspection on that one. Didn't he have a kid in that? I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen Friends. Oh yeah, he had that cute kid. That cute, yeah. I liked Ross as a dad though. Like that was like the redeeming arc for him. Was like seeing him as a father was cool. On that note, I have been thinking about having kids. I'm still pretty much the same as I've always been. It's like, if I find the right person, like the right partner for me, then I'll have kids. Like, I want kids. I know I want kids, but I don't want kids with someone that I don't like. If that makes sense. I don't want kids with just anybody. That's how I feel. That's the perfect way I can put it. It's like, I don't want to just have kids with anybody. I'm perfectly happy not having kids and being with someone, like marrying someone who doesn't want kids. It's like, I do want kids, but I want to have kids with the right person, or the person that, like, I feel, I don't know if it's making sense. I'm getting hungry, but I want kids with the right person. And I want like 3 or 4 kids, because I grew up I grew up with, in a big family, right? Like I said, 3 older brothers, younger brother, 2 younger sisters. I had a big family, like 2 parents. Like, I loved coming home and being surrounded by people. I loved even in the, like, I'm an introvert, but even like when I needed my alone time and to have my space, I loved knowing that they were around. I loved that when I wanted to take a pause from my alone time, I could just go hang out with my brother, hang out in his room, listen to music, or I could go watch anime with my younger brother, or hang out with my sisters, or whatever it is, like, So I want that for my kids. Like, I guess I don't know what it's like to be an only child, but I don't want that from my child, only because, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being an only child. Like, that's, A, you can't control that, but B, that's a beautiful experience too. Like, there's pros to that I'll never understand. But I just know how fulfilled I felt and how important it was for me to have siblings, that, like, that's what I want, like, for my children. Um, if I ever have children, but like, it's on the record now. It's in the books officially. I want children, and I want a big. I want 3 or 4 kids. But with the right person, you know. And it could be, like I said, it could be in 20 years down the road, 30 years down the road, I'm in that ranch in Texas with 10 dogs, and it's just me living the bachelor life and, dating from time to time. And I'd be happy with that. I'd be fine. That's beautiful to me. That's a timeline that, you know, is lovely. And I'm sure Sam Jackson's in that timeline too somehow. With an eye patch. Maybe 2 eye patches by that time. They're both on the same eye though. But I'm saying it here. I want kids, and the reason that spawned in my head is because I was listening to this podcast, Fun with Dumb, and they were talking, and one of the co-hosts, Steffi, she had this thing where she's like pretty straight to the point now when she's dating. Like, she didn't do that before, but now she's like, yo, straight up, do you want kids? Do you want this? Do you want that? This is what I'm looking for. If you don't want that, don't waste my time, pretty much. And that got me thinking, and I didn't even have to think long, because I've always kind of known that, I love the idea of, having kids. And, I'd be that classic soccer dad who comes home after work and takes the kids to soccer and teaches them how to play. And I remember I told you guys about Elle, and we dated, and she had a son. But one of my favorite things, he was I think 4 at the time, where he really started getting into books, at least as far as I remember. And I remember I took him. We had little play dates, just him and I, sometimes when his mom would be, or it would just be, I would specifically make these times where it's like, yo, can I just take him and I just to, so we can form our own bond, without his mom. And she was so cool. She's like, yeah, do it. Like, she encouraged that. And I remember one time I took him to the library, and I was like, he was old enough to like kind of explore the areas, and we picked out a book together, and then we went home that night, and after dinner and everything, we laid in bed together, and I read it to him, and that was the most fun. That was like I miss that a lot, actually, like, because he'd be pointing at different things, and sometimes he would cut me off because he's just like, attention spans and kids, like, they just like what they like. And I loved it because we'd just be going on, and we'd make up little stories about what this frog's doing. I think it was a picture book about animals and forest creatures, and I just remember, like, we do that often, like as many times as I could, just because I would start to look forward to it too. Like, I would just be like, you want to read that book tonight? And sometimes he would say no, and I'm like disappointed. But like, when a lot of times he would say yeah, and we just lay there and spend. I mean, he could have spent all night doing that, but me, I'd spend, half hour, 45 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes, just him and I just reading through books. And I don't know, that was so fulfilling, and so, I don't know, it was, I want that, That's when I start thinking about that too much, then I start getting sad. Like, I want that, like, but like I said, I only want it if who I'm with, like, if it feels right, and if it's, if it's meant to be, kind of thing. But I low-key love being in dad mode. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. I was thinking about the other day, like, it just makes the mundane things seem so amazing, It's like, I remember sometimes after work, me and Elle would like be tired, but like, And she was like, single mom life is, to all you single moms out there, yo, I'm gonna get a soundboard and like get some claps going just for y'all, because single momhood is just, y'all are the real ones. Y'all, I can't even imagine, all the work that y'all go through and the sacrifice and all that. Like, that's insane to me. I got to see some of it firsthand, but like, so much respect and love for single moms out there, all moms out there, really all, any kind of parent anywhere. If you're out there doing your thing and raising these kids, I respect the heck out of you. But so like sometimes I'd want to like give her a little break from being a mom. I want to give her an evening where she, I take a little guy out and we just, give her like an hour or 2 hour break, just where she can take a shower without someone interrupting her, or, just kind of decompress herself, because, she deserves that. She's a human. Like, she deserves that just as much as anybody else. She just doesn't get it, or didn't get it. But what I was saying is, like, on those days, we just go to I would just take him to the grocery store, right? I'd buckle him up in his little seat, his little car seat, and we just go down the road to the grocery store. But like, those trips were some of my favorite trips. It was like from the music we listened to, sometimes it'd be my music or sometimes it'd be stuff he wanted to listen to like just putting him in his little seat in the shopping cart and just going up and down the aisles, and it turned mundane routine into something fun, because you get to see the world through a kid's eyes again. He's pointing out things that like you've always seen, but you've never really, it's been a long time since you've like registered them, right? Like displays that are arranged artistically are like the craziest thing to him, and he's pointing them out, and you're like, yeah, you know what? That is wild that Pepsi display is shaped like a football, or yeah, that poster is great. That's you're seeing things, or even like, why is he's pointing at the mayonnaise jar, like, yeah, why is it shaped like that? It's a funny shape. It looks gross. Just little things like that, which made like, or like you had to, when you were having a little toddler and you had to like speed down the candy aisle before he registers where you're at, or he wants to try every cereal because they look like, colorful. He wants that cereal, even though he's not going to want that cereal when it comes time to it. But like that, I sometimes I dream about it or I think about it, and it's just like, I love that. Like, I want that. Yeah. But I didn't mean to go all that. I didn't mean to go down that rabbit hole. But now I definitely got to get some dinner. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed anime night. Let's do this again, okay? Let me know what you thought. Let me know what you want to see in the future. Be thinking about what you want to listen to in terms of a music night, because I'm thinking probably Monday or Tuesday night it's going to be a music night. But yeah, my voice is getting a little raspy, so I'm gonna go eat some dinner. But like I said, I hope you're warm and cozy, and I hope that bath was extra cozy today, or that shower just hit extra special. And I hope you're curled up somewhere safe and warm. Or if you're driving, if you're at work, I hope you're able to zone out and listen to this and kind of enjoy it and laugh and reminisce a little bit. But yeah, hopefully see you. I want to say Tuesday. So look out early for next week, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Probably Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'll talk to you later. Sleep well. Go watch some anime. Go break out some of the older, like the 90s 90s anime, or just dive into some current stuff, because there's some really, really good stuff out there these days. Really good stuff. But yeah, I'll see y'all later. And